Assalamu alaikum. So this is the third video, and in this video we will be talking about the chapter 5 and chapter 6 of the book, the famous story, The Little Prince by Antoine De-Saint Exupery. Let's go there. We have already covered 4 chapters in 2 videos. I think you remember them. This is the 5th chapter. Let's just start reading this. Quite fascinating story this is going to be. Every day I learned something on the planet, on departure, on the journey. These 3 things: the planet, departure, and the journey actually teaches him, that very person, the author or the main character in this novel or story, something new. It came very gently at the chance of reflections. Thus, on the 3rd day, I knew the drama of the baobabs. This time again it was thanks to the sheep, for suddenly the little prince interrogated me as if caught in a serious doubt. It is true, it is not, that sheep eat the shrubs. Yes, that is true. I'm happy. I did not understand why it was so important that the sheep ate the shrubs. But the little prince said it, so they also eat the baobabs. I remarked to the little prince that the baobab trees are not shrubs, but trees as large as churches, and that even if they carried with them a whole herd of elephants, this flock would not be able to overcome a single baobab. The idea of the herd of elephants made the little prince laugh. We should put them on top of each other. Look at this one. This is what is an idea in the mind of little prince. See how many elephants are there, and one elephant having another elephant on its back, and then another elephant on its back. So this goes on and on. This is the little planet that prince belongs to. Quite interesting idea. Okay. But he remarked wisely, the baobabs, before growing, it starts off being small. That's right. But why do you want your sheep to eat the little baobabs? He replied, well, come on, as it was obvious, and it took me a great effort of intelligence to understand myself this problem. And indeed, on the planet of the little prince, there was, as on all the planets, good grasses and weeds. Therefore, good seeds of good weeds and bad seeds of weeds. But the seeds are invisible. They sleep in the secret of the earth until it takes fancy for one of them to wake up. Then she stretched herself and at first shoved timidly towards the sun, a ravishing little harmless little twig. If it was a twig of radish or rosebush, you can let it grow as it wants. But if it is a bad plant, it is necessary to tear the plant immediately as soon as it is known to recognize it. Now there were terrible seeds on the planet of the little prince. These were the seeds of baobabs. The soil of the planet was infested. Now a baobab, if one takes it too late, one can never get rid of it anymore. It encumbers the whole planet. He perforing her with his roots. And if the planet is too small and if the baobabs are too numerous, they make it burst. So this is here, the little prince is struggling with this tree that he's talking about. It becomes giant when it grows up. And the planet becomes quite small for that tree. It's a matter of discipline, the little prince later told me. When you have finished your morning toilet, you have to do the toilet of the planet carefully. Quite fascinating idea again here. It is necessary to regularly bite the baobabs as soon as they are distinguished from the roses, to which they resemble very much when they are very young. It's a very boring job, but very easy. And one day he advised me to apply myself to a beautiful drawing in order to bring it into the heads of the children of my house. If they travel one day, he said to me, that could serve them. It is sometimes inconvenient to postpone his work, but if it is a question of the baobabs, it is always a catastrophe. I knew a planet inhabited by a lazy. He had neglected these shrubs. And on the instructions of the little prince, I drew this planet. I do not like to take the tone of a moralist, but the danger of the baobabs is so little known, and the risks run by the one wandering in an asteroid are so considerable that for once I am an exception to my reserve. I said, pay attention to the baobabs. It was so warm, my friends, of the danger that it was to warn my friends of the danger that they had been for a long time, like myself, without knowing it, and I hate worked so much on this drawing. The lesson I gave was worth it. You may wonder, why are there not other drawings in this book as grandiose as the drawing of the baobabs? The answer is very simple. I tried, but I could not succeed. When I drew the baobabs, I was animated by the feeling of urgency. Now, see, in this line, I tried, but I could not succeed. Actually, this line relates with his experience when he, for the first time at the age of 6 years, started drawing a sort of boa constrictor having an elephant in the stomach. And he was very much disappreciated or demotivated by the grown-ups. There he stopped drawing, and now because of that influence or impact on his mind, demotivation actually, he could not draw anything new until he met with this prince, and on the insistence from that little prince, he started drawing again. The very first thing he drew for the prince was sheep, and then the little box, and then the bush. Prince on the planet is struggling with this tree, the giant tree, and then this planet being infested or feasted or devoured by these giant plants. This ends here, the chapter 5, and chapter 6 starts. Ah, little prince, I have understood little by little your little melancholy life. You had only for a long distraction the sweetness of the sunsets. I learned this new detail on the fourth day in the morning when you said to me, I like the sunsets, let's see a sunset. But you have to wait. Wait for what? Wait until the sun goes down. You looked very surprised at first, and then you laughed at yourself, and you said to me, I always feel at home. Indeed, when it is noon in the United States, the sun, as everyone knows, lies on France. It would be enough to be able to go to France in 1 minute to watch the sunset. Unfortunately, France is far too far away. But on your little planet, it was enough for you to pull your chair a few steps, and you were watching twilight whenever you wished. One day I saw the sun go down 44 times. Can you imagine the very mind, the very curiosity of or the creativity of the mind of the little prince? He says that he saw the sun go down 44 times. The very little days on his planet, or the very little planet that he has homemade, and he can see the sun setting down 44 times a day. Quite interesting. And a little later, you added, when you are so sad, you like the sunsets. Perfectly relatable, perfectly relatable. So relatable. It's more like, for example, somebody experiences sadness, and he finds the sadness in that scene of sunset. Quite amazing, wonderful. So the day of the 45 times you were so sad. But the little prince did not answer. Why would he answer, by the way? He always asks his question and tells his own points. Look at this one. He's on the chair, on the planet, and he can see the sun setting, just dragging the chair away from it, a few steps. and some shrubs are there. And he says himself that he saw 44 times, for 44 times the sun setting. And this is the end of chapter 6, and we'll continue again with the new video discussing chapter 7 and chapter 8.